It's the Friday Random Review, and this time I'm going to talk about a toy I want to talk about. Imagine that! And it's going to be one of my favorites of all time. How have I owned this figure this long and never talked about it on camera in any way, shape, or form? For those unaware, or in case you didn't just read the title before clicking, I don't know, this is Generation Warpath. And oh man, is it so pretty. This is about as close to perfection as a Transformer gets, as no Transformer is perfect. But this one comes probably as close as it can get, at least from me. As you can see, it is a Transformer-style H-Tank, though it is not nearly as extreme as some examples. This isn't like an Armada Megatron or anything, where he is strictly H-shaped. It's only exaggerated to the front a little bit here in the front, and really not at all in the back, though the general shape is there. So it's actually far more standard. There is a little bit of a futuristic element to it, but for the most part, yeah, it just comes across as a tank, which is good. It's in a nice brick red color, really dig that, and there's a little bit of paint on it, a little bit of black on the top, a little bit of silver here, just to kind of break it up a little bit. The treads are completely painted in silver, and I do love the detailing through them. All the gears and mechanics are there, and the treads themselves are molded in with some nice deep grooves, so it actually looks like tank treading. Very nicely done. As long as we're looking at deco, kapow, zowie. In reference to how he talked in the G1 cartoon, because if you were in the G1 cartoon, you had a funny voice, and that's just the way it went. For the rest of the details, there's enough going on to make him look interesting, but not enough to make him look overcomplicated or too busy. So I really do appreciate that. You can see the hatch on top where a human would hop in. Of course, no humans hopping into this particular tank. And of course, we can see he is weaponed out pretty well. The barrel, which is flared at the tip, the way a normal tank barrel should be. You also have this little mini rocket launcher or mini gun, whichever you choose. It's your imagination. Do with it as you will. And of course, your standard missile launcher, because this is back when missile launchers were still standard. It is spring-loaded, it does fire quite a bit, and I don't want to fire it right now because it'll fly off camera and never be found again. And just in case you think this isn't enough armament, this was also back when they had 3mm pegs for clip-on weapons that some figures come with. He does not come with any, but if you had figures that did, he does have 4 mounting points for those, so he can be even more armed than he already is. On the bottom, he does have some plastic little plastic wheels here just to keep the plastic and the paint from getting scratched up. And it rolls okay. You know, it's not gonna like travel, but it is gonna keep him from getting scratched up. And if you push him along, he's going to go, and that's what you want from a toy that rolls. So that is the vehicle mode, and it's not a perfect tank, but you know what? Its turret rotates, and the barrel goes up and down. So it has all the playability I expect from a toy tank. So let's get him into robot mode, and this is actually a pretty interesting transformation. I'm going to go ahead and flip these up to get them out of the way. Then we're going to open up these panels. This is how his arms transform. And it flips all the way down, on both sides, of course. And from there, we're also going to flip the fists out. These are covers not only to hide the fist, they'll also form the forearm, and they were part of the transformation. There's a lot of neat little multitasking in such a efficient little design. Great. I love the engineering on this figure. I will say that right now, just in case you were wondering. We will... this is a little stuck. We'll pop that section off and raise all of this up. That folds down, and then it all folds together to form his torso. We will save the head for now, and we'll move straight to the legs, where we'll rotate these. And this is interesting too. We have the foot down, out, and then pegged in there. And once again, in case you missed it, and if I can actually get this one to work the same way, come on. This one's being a little bit stubborn. I apologize. Oh, it's raw footage, of course. So that goes there. We will unpeg, bend, down, up. And that's how the foot is formed. As I say, very good engineering. It's very intuitive and still very interesting at the same time. It's extremely well balanced. And from here, we will push this in, which will pop the head up in a little bit of automorph. That clicks tight into place, and that gives you Deluxe Warpath in all of his glory. And he is kind of a glorious deluxe, isn't he? Look at that figure. The proportions on him are so nice. Everything is balanced just right. He's got enough bulk to look really powerful. He's thin in the right areas around the waist and around the elbow. Nothing looks strange in his proportions. He is just a solid, rough and tumble little robot. And what I like even more, look how clean that is. The only thing you have is a panel behind his head, and that's pretty much it for the kibble. Everything else gets folded up into this nice little package. Again, engineering, brilliant. We can take a look at his head. It is the traditional Warpath head, which by all accounts should be a very generic head, but it does manage to look like Warpath. They also gave some extra paint to bring out the grooves that are typically around his face mask, and the sharp eyes are really nice too. It's supposed to light pipe, but it doesn't light pipe very well unless you've got a halogen bulb behind his head, and even then, panel in the way. This is why I am against light piping, because it just kind of makes his eyes look black unless you've got a really, really good light source behind him in just the right spot. Well, let's take in the details for what they are. There's not a lot newly revealed here in robot mode. You can see around the midsection he's got some paint apps for his belt, and a lot of the detailing here comes across. It does a nice job of breaking up all the red. There is a lot more gray here that wasn't present in the vehicle mode, so that is appreciated. That keeps him looking very nicely color balanced. And I do like these hits of silver and gold that are strewn about him all over the place. So he does come off looking quite nice. For articulation, you got some universal shoulder joints, and they're very good. They give you a full range of motion. There is a bicep swivel just above the elbow, and the elbow does have a 90-degree bend to it. The head rotates, a little bit tight, but it does. No waist rotation, that's unfortunate. Ball-jointed hips, good range. You know, he's not going to be doing rider kicks or anything, but he can get it done, and he can form poses that you'd really want him to be in. Thigh swivel, deep knee bend, a bit of an ankle if you want to kind of break the transformation just a bit. Doesn't quite stay, but if you need it, there's a little bit of give there, which makes him a really well-rounded toy all the way around. Good articulation. I'm quite a fan. The only thing really missing from this package is an accessory. You know, he does have the weapon, or he does have the hands for it, and he does have these 3mm pegs, but seriously, cannon for a chest, rocket mounted on the shoulder, minigun mounted on shoulder. This guy's pretty much armed to the teeth already. The last thing I think he needs is a pistol. So, that's pretty much Warpath in a nutshell, isn't it? He is an exceptionally good toy. One of the best I ever saw out of the Generations line. This, I feel, is about as close to a classic-style Transformer as they ever got after Classics. It's got that same clean look. It's got that, you know, no need for a gimmick design pattern, and everything is built so solid. Now, I will say, like, he does have some of the modern quibbles. You know, he's got mushroom pegs attaching parts and some hollowed areas here. But he still feels nice and solid. He is a little bitty brick of a toy. Not in a bad way. Brick is in solid. Brick, not... Okay, you know what I mean. He's an exceptionally good figure. Easily one of my favorites that Generations ever produced. Fitting right at home with your Classics collection. Way better than the Legends Warpath that they are about to release. It's just a Megatron repaint. Ah, well... So, if you haven't, find this guy. And I don't know what it is, but all my favorite molds only come out one time at retail. All the other figures for him are exclusives, BotCon and TFCC and all that nonsense. He was supposed to come out as Hardhead or something, anything. I'd love to own a second version of this toy just in case, this one wears out or breaks down on me. And I hate when they do that. But nevertheless, it is worth tracking down if you've never experienced the figure. He is one of the best.